It's like, it's just a couple pages. I'll keep digging.
So we're ready to start.
Okay.
Fran's here.
Fran's here to discuss our
Revenues?
our amnesty program, right? Is that
From the
what
amnesty,
official-
yeah.
Go ahead, Francis.
Okay, so I just wanted to update you on the status of the revenues that the treasurer's office receives. So our sales tax, year-to-date collections are $11,937,355. That's $362,000 over the same period last year. That is related to an assessment that was done in May. There was an audit done by the comptroller's office in taxation and finance, which netted us $661,000 in sales tax.
That's what
We
probably,
don't get the details on the assessment, but that was based on an audit that was done.
So without that, we would have been, below, we would have been about 300,000 below
Below
where
last
we
year.
would have been last year.
so we were lucky at the right time, the right thing. Yeah.
Came at the right time, yeah.
Our occupancy tax collections year-to-date are $121,214. That's down $67,000 from same period last year. We ended 2019 with 127 registrants in the program. To date, we have 163, so we've increased 28% based on enforcement.
163?
163.
So those are all homes, 100 and some homes that we would have been putting up for auction.
No, I'm sorry, this is
No.
occupancy tax.
Oh,
This is
occupancy. Oh,
occupancy tax
okay.
registrants, sorry. We didn't have a lot of occupancy, so we were working on the enforcement side of it during the temporary shutdown.
Yeah,
So we were able to increase it 28%.
that's a huge increase, really, I think.
Good job.
So, and it just, before I get into the amnesty program and the results, I just wanted to give everyone a heads up that there was an executive moratorium on foreclosure action that expired June 20th. However, there is now a judicial moratorium on foreclosure action until August 20th. We don't know yet if that will be extended. That means we can do nothing related to foreclosure until that's lifted. So just so you're aware.
August 20th.
August 20th as of right now, and that was the New York Chief Administrative Judge, Judge Marks. He's the one that.
You don't have a lot of control over that.
No, but I want everyone aware that
Now we
that's
know
why
about
we're not
it.
acting on any of our foreclosures at this time. Once this is lifted, we are ready to go with two years worth of proceedings.
And out of those 2 years of proceedings, were some of them part of the?
So they were. So to date, with the interest amnesty program, which expires on July 31st, we have received payment in full on 426 parcels.
Wow, that's great.
We've received $1,381,800 in back taxes.
Say that again.
$1,381,800.
This is the back taxes.
This is the back, the back taxes that we waive the interest on.
And that's just from COVID's waiving of the interest.
That's just from the, May to July period.
Okay.
And
May,
so,
May 1st to July 30th?
It was, I believe, April 23rd,
The
when the
payment.
resolution passed, yeah.
so,
Because
and
somebody had
is
paid
there,
it.
and that ends the end of the month, so
That-
there's still time to make
Right.
payments.
So what is gonna happen is the expiration of the program is July 31st, which is next Friday. We will honor postmark payments. So, and we do want that's standard procedure for any tax collection. We honor the postmark payments. And just to have an idea of what this has done for the foreclosure proceeding, this program has removed 13 out of the 2013 proceeding, 28 out of the 2014 proceeding, 45 out of the 2015 proceeding,
How many?
13 out of the 2013,
Yeah.
28 out of 2014, 45 out of 2015, and 30 out of 2016.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
This is just great.
So
news.
it's been a great
Yes.
program. I do think it's a little over 3 months. I think it was a great run. I am recommending that we allow it to expire. School taxes are going to be coming due. And if people are worrying about trying to come up with our tax payment and not the school tax payment. That's something the county has to make whole in April. So I think right now it's had a good run.
Yeah,
We still have quite the interest, so interest in the program. People have been calling. They were just calling even this morning to see what the figures were to get involved in the program. So I do think we'll see a rush as of next week.
Okay.
So I'll bring in updated figures once we've closed the program out.
I think that's great. It's
Mhm.
really a success story. It helps us at a time when we really need the help the most.
And
People
it
are
helps
very,
people.
they're very appreciative of it. We hear it every time they call to make a payment or tell us they're sending in their payment. They're very, very thankful
That's great.
for this program. So thank
So-
you all very much.
There's 426 people that may have lost their home and now we're gonna be able to keep them. Great. Let's hope it doesn't have an effect on the school tax.
Plus it saves a lot of expense on our part and trying to
Right.
go south and you know that we don't make money on every parcel.
right, and it brought in revenue at a time when we really needed it.
Yes.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of wins. Thank you for thinking of this, Fran, well done.
Appreciate it.
We don't have any other money to tell us about it.
I don't have any other money to tell you about right now.
I figured I'd check on it.
I got the good news.
Haven't found any in the drawer or anything?
No, we didn't.
Some lost bank account or?
I wish we could, but no.
The end of June, we would have been at our 50% mark for revenue, and we're at 49%, keeping in mind all the levies in there. So we're a little bit.
Yeah, this amnesty program plus the money coming in for sales tax,
Right, that
which is
all-
about $2 million almost, yeah.
It all helped, so, and our expense totals, we're at 42%, so.
Of expenses,
mhm.
and that's,
So we would have been over, 50% at the end. We would have been 50% at the end of June, so we're 3 weeks beyond that. So, purchasing freezes and other things that we did,
And we haven't received that money from the state of New York either, have
Oh, okay.
which money?
we?
It's
DSS money.
It's slow, the DSS money is very slow coming in, and it's several million.
Yeah, and then we got, 50% of what we're supposed to get so far? Or maybe it's better now.
Maybe
On
that's,
DSS is very, very slow to come in, so I
Even
believe,
on a normal year, yeah.
generally, yes, but this year, it's basically almost dried up.
and our auditor is here this week.
Yes, so the auditing team is here to complete our single
You know
audit.
it's
So they're here this week, and then they'll be back the week of August 3rd, I believe, to finish the audit.
I think that's a good thing, all the time we have the audits, at least we stay on the right track that way.
We really see it as a help, something, if we're doing something that should be done differently, then we welcome that information and have the ability to change how we're doing things.
Audits aren't always bad. that's for
No.
sure.
Well, you want to know as soon as possible, right?
Yeah, it's better to find out now than 2
Yeah.
years ago, when it's wrong.
all right, cross checks are always
Does
good.
Yeah.
anybody else have that for Fran while she's here?
On the amnesty, you had sent out a letter?
Yes, in June, once the board passed that extension in June to bring it to July 31st, we sent out letters to everyone that owed 19 or prior taxes to inform them of this program. We sent out over 1,900 letters.
Did you have any of them bounce or?
We did have some that were returned. The problem with the letters being returned, we have access to try to find updated addresses, but that's not always valid. It's a reminder to taxpayers that if you have moved, you must change your mailing address with real property. So we've resent some of those out, but there are some that we can't because we don't have a forwarding address. We don't have any way to.
I know my wife's tax collector bond me, and sometimes a pile of them will come back, and then we'll try to figure out, and usually the assessor can help you find a lot of that in the town.
A lot of them are from out of state.
Fran, I have a question.
Yes.
I missed the first part of your briefing. 2 questions. The sales tax, where are we on that again?
Year-to-date collections are $11,937,355. We are $362,000 ahead of last year at the same period.
Okay. And you don't foresee a sales, do you foresee a sales tax or a interim proceeding this year, of auction?
So, there's been a judicial moratorium until August 20th.
Right,
So we can't do anything, if that is lifted on August 20th, we have the 2013 ready for notice. So
Okay.
that's a 90-day notice window. So basically 3 months. And then after that period is up, we could prepare it for the judge. I don't foresee it with courts also being closed for such a period and getting backed up. I don't believe the judgment will be awarded to the county anytime soon.
so we're looking at 2021. Okay,
Yes, but
Thank
we
you.
have 2 years ready to go when that
Okay.
moratorium is lifted.
Could we
Thank
submit
you.
both years? of it?
Yes.
Oh, we are, okay.
That's what we're planning
So
on.
it's 13 and 14.
13 and 14 will be noticed together and then submitted.
And you've got a couple of those, and then you got 30, 41 of them that won't have to be.
And these properties, of course, are gonna stay on the tax roll, which is good, so it's gonna be, it's not like they're being foreclosed and taken off the tax roll and how long it takes to get back on. And also, how does this affect their, school tax, you know what I mean, the savings on the school tax?
So the state passed in the budget that if you had delinquent taxes, you would be removed from the STAR program.
That's what we are.
So the state sent letters out in May, and that was what initiated this whole program for us in Franklin County. And we did have quite a response to that, but we still, in July, when I submitted the updated report, I still sent over 1,900 parcels to New York State as delinquent. So, but the STAR program removal does not affect anyone that has enhanced STAR. It's only the basic STAR exemption. So it wouldn't affect anybody that has vacant property that doesn't get the exemption. It's only someone who has the basic, and it will not affect our seniors who get the enhanced.
Yeah, because if you own just a piece of property, you don't get anything anyways, right?
Right. So yes, 1,900 parcels went to the state, but of those, I don't have a definitive list of how many had basic STAR on them.
It's your primary residence.
Yes.
Couple of 30.
And because 420 parcels took advantage of this, this is like 25% of the delinquency.
Yes, initially it was. We had sent over 2,300 parcels
Aha,
initially were sent.
okay, so it was even worse. Yep. Okay.
That it, Fran?
That's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody have any more questions? Thank you.
Namaste. North Country's presenting their budget.
Yeah,
Can you get time?
yeah, I have just have to go back and meet with Roger.
Okay, what's that?
I'll be down at some point.
Okay, so we'll probably go on to the next item, Joe Keegan, North Country Community College, that's economic development.
Thank you, Don. Good morning, everybody. Can you see and hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
Great. Nice to see you all. And I regret that a number of things about the pandemic, but one of them is being able to see you on a more frequent basis. I hope you're all well. And I have tried to keep you in the loop with things that have been transpiring at the college through correspondence with Don and to continue the kinds of dialogue that we've had over the year. And I just want to, on behalf of all of us at the college, thank you all for your support of the college. It really means a lot to us. And for the extended time to complete the budget. This has been, and I know you know it better than anyone, it's been a real challenging time with a lot of uncertainty around budget preparation. And so we appreciated the extra time to try and think through all of those uncertainties. And I just wanted to give you a couple of updates and then we'll hop right into the budget. I wanted to, let you know that I really think that the legislature and the citizens of Franklin County have a lot to be proud of what's been going on at the college. You've got really good people that work here and are committed to helping students find academic success. And we saw that through a really wonderful graduation ceremony at the end of May, where we graduated 280 students and were able to pull it off in a virtual setting. It was really a real nice testimony. And the campus community on a dime turned from being nearly fully on campus to being fully remote within literally about a week period, and folks did it, and they did it with a degree of grace, and that was great. We also were able to do some virtual nursing pinning ceremonies. The nurses, are an important part of our offerings, and that worked really well. We did one on each one of our campuses, and it was a little bit bittersweet in that we weren't able to do the formal setting, but we were able to celebrate the real accomplishments of our PN and our RN nurses, and they're now queuing up to take their NCLEX and be the next line of healthcare workers that are going to be helping us continually through what we're experiencing now. We've been working closely, I've let Don know we've been working closely with the workforce and economic development partners in both of the counties and in the region. I think the legislator knows we've been finding ways to work with both Franklin and Essex County workforce and economic development on ways to align what the college is doing with the county's needs. And that's been really helpful to have them at the table for us. And in this time of pandemic where we saw people being unemployed and we saw needs, we looked for ways to fill some of those. And one of the items that came out of that was a free continuing ed series, what we're calling North Country Live, where we're pushing out live and then recorded webinars on topics related to what we heard in those meetings. One was about personal wellness. This month has been all focused on financial literacy and financial, remote telecommuting, and some other elements of business planning. And we are hoping that your constituents will take advantage of that. Next month, we're going to be looking at linking the history of the Adirondacks with some of the Black history, African-American history there, which we think will be both timely and instructive. And the other thing that I shared this with Don, and I believe I sent you all out a letter as well, letting you know about the Foundation's Opportunity Scholarship. We saw the opportunity within the college to really be able to help the residents of the county age 24 and older who are without a high school or a college diploma, And there is somewhere on the order of about 70% of the residents in Franklin and Essex County, a little bit more in Franklin County, that don't hold an associate's degree or higher. And many of them where an associate's degree would be of real value to them. And so we have we secured a $100,000 foundation grant from our foundation to be able to support scholarships to students in Essex and Franklin County, age 24 and older. And you've probably seen things in your mailbox or on the airwaves or in the papers to that effect. And if you know anyone in your region or your constituents that are looking to or thinking about college, please send them our way, because we've got lots of supports that we can be able to assist them with. We, all spring, our decisions around how we were going to operate were made on, the foundation principle of ensuring the basic health and safety of the campus community. And we approached the fall semester in a similar way. And given that we're a commuter campus by and large, we couldn't see how we'd be able to open up with safety with any other platform than really a mostly online schedule. The silver lining for us is we've got about 20 years of online instruction. We have the infrastructure for online, and our our spring term where we went fully online, showed that we were able to deliver that and deliver it well, including all the remote supports. And so our plan is for the fall to be in a fully online, with few exceptions. Our nursing students a small cohort of them in the PN program will be doing some of their clinical work in a face-to-face setting, similar with our rad tech students, and a couple of other real select courses where the learning outcomes really require face-to-face. But for the most part, we're going to be remote for fall, and we'll reassess what that looks like for the spring. We've got a budget that probably, no doubt, like the counties, has faced a lot of uncertainty. And for us, the uncertainty has been in a couple of main areas. One of them is in the enrollment side, on whether or not students are going to be moving towards the college. We see some opportunities there, as we've talked about, both on the non-traditional side, but also for students that are planning to go to college, but their schools are going to be online. We'd love for them to start, and have a high quality, affordable education at the college. The other piece is around our state funding, and I know we're going to get a little bit more deeply into that into the budget. But those are just a couple of the updates I wanted to share with you on the broader elements of the college. I want to introduce the board to Eric Harvey. Eric is our interim CFO. Bob Farmer, who had been our vice president for administration and CFO, moved on to new frontiers for him and his family at the end of June. And as part of our attempts to control our budget and as well as continue to deliver the services on the financial side, Eric, who has been working for us for the last few years and has a background in finance and has really been deeply involved in the budgeting process, has agreed to step up as our interim CFO. And I think you'll find him to be a really good guy to work with. It was Eric's work and brainchild around the executive summary, which I'm hoping that you found helpful, where we not just gave you the budget, but gave you some of the context on the budget. And I'm going to turn it over to Eric to present that to you, if that is okay with the board.
Yes.
Good, yeah, go right ahead.
Hop in, Eric.
Thank you much, Joe. Good morning, everybody. And thanks for having us here today.
Good morning.
Well, as Joe alluded to, we're here to present the budget, and we present a budget of $14,387,856 to support our operations, and $150,000 in capital budget. It assumes our enrollment will overall be 1,050 FTE, or 1% less than the current year. That's 885 FTE for our core students, and a Second Chance Pell contributing 165 FTE. That translates into $100,000 or 1% reduction in revenue. And in order to balance our budget, we had some tough decisions to make and needed to reduce our spending by 4% or $550,000. That's going to give us a neutral surplus after we pull $31,000 from our fund balance. When we started the process, as the executive summary outlines, we actually started out with $1.5 million deficit, and there was a lot of work done by everyone involved to get us down to this $30,000 deficit that we're going to pull from the fund balance. We basically had to freeze travel, all of our discretionary spending, professional development that's not required. We iced our IT upgrades. We've froze administrative salaries and all overtime. There's an open VP of administration, an associate dean of academics. There's 3 early retirements. Neither of those will be filled at this time. And we're also doing some other staffing reorganizations. And of course, we're cutting our casual labor pools, unfortunately, those that support instruction. When we're all done at the end of the year, our fund balance is projected to be $4.1 million. It's 29% of total unrestricted expenses. And we're going to talk about some risks a little bit later when we get into the end here. As far as the county sponsorships go, we're not anticipating any change. These are really tough times, and we're just hopeful that everyone will be able to contribute what they have in the past. As far as expenses go, some notes around our salary and benefits. It's important to note that our salary and benefit costs are 73% of our total budget. So I don't know if that's a surprise to anybody, but it's when we get into tough times like this, that's really where we have to look. We've done a really super job on the other 25% of the expenses. We're down to that now. If we go to a mostly online modality of instruction, which we have decided to do post putting this all together, we can expect a reduction of $150,000 or 1% of our salaries. And we should further see a reduction of $85K or 20% of our contractual expenses due to utilities and travel expenses that we won't be incurring. On page 2, you can see the operating budget. It's the $14.3 million in revenue and $14.3 million in expenses. So we're coming in neutral at this point. The capital budget is very similar to what we see in the past. It's strictly for critical maintenance projects, must-haves, and so you can see we're laying out. There's IT infrastructure, doors and locks, parking lot. There's some head wall training units for our nurses. These have to all be approved by SUNY individually. So just because we're getting approval to spend up to $300,000 on capital, that doesn't mean that the state or SUNY is going to allow us to move forward. It has to be very critical in nature. So, and we're also very conscious of cash flow. We're only going to be doing projects that are absolutely necessary to move the needle or for health and safety. Let's talk about risks here for a second. One of the biggest risks we have is the New York State aid, and I think everyone's well aware of that. There have been numbers flying around of anywhere from 10% to 50% cuts. There's nothing official right now. They're still holding out to give us the real number, but it is settling around 20% of our total aid. So that would include our rental aid, our base aid for FTEs, our aid to small colleges, and even our New York State TAP funding. So the students would still get their awards, but the college would be cut short on what they would get reimbursed for. So all in all, it's about $950,000 to $1 million that we have risk, and we're going to have to come up with some levers and some mitigating items there to try and combat that. On the enrollment side, we're also seeing risk, and it's incoming registrations right now for the fall are about 12 to 18% behind prior year at this point in time. I should point out that SUNY has done some preliminary market research on what their institutions are experiencing, and then also we've done some look around the national community college enrollment declines. They're all in the 15 to 30% range. So I think it shows that our returning students are showing us that they have faith in us being able to deliver online education. It's our new students who appear to be on the fence, and all in all, a 16% decline. Another thing we're going to have to mitigate, but we're not experiencing the same decline as a lot of the other institutions are. So, and with that, I just want to open up the floor for any questions that anybody might have.
The only, I have one question, that the amount that the state, we're pretty sure that you're not gonna get that 800,000, aren't we, or is that, have you got anything different on that?
We're planning that we're not going to get it, and we're actually thinking we're never going to see it again. So ongoing year over year over year, it's going to be gone.
Anybody else have any questions?
Concerning that they're not gonna get.
I have a question for you, just related to the retirement costs that you budgeted. So you're showing a decrease in your retirement expenses, is that correct?
Correct, I see that. So the forecast is what drove us out there. The budget was put in place, and we just got the most recent forecast in. We are going to need to scrub that down. I'm not sure that it's actually going to be that much less. So that is definitely an area that we're going to look into. Yeah.
Well, I think, and I know at county level, the comptroller has recommended that we estimate an increase of 15% over the previous year's payment, just because of the way March 31st ended, because that's the comptroller's, that's the number he uses to figure out his actuarial estimate on retirement. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that as well.
That's great.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Some of you have quite a few positions you're not refilling and things like that. That could have an effect on your retirement also, right?
Good.
If you have positions you don't fill, yeah.
So the executive summary was a really good add to this package, and it looks like you're taking the actions to deal with the deficit that we're thinking about also.
On the same line, right?
Yep, so.
Yeah.
And we do appreciate all you guys do,
Yeah.
because I mean, we're proud of North Country Community College, there's no doubt
Yes.
about it. And
Yes.
I think you're doing a great job. We are pretty worried about what's gonna happen this year, and not only for you, for us, for everybody. It's,
Yeah.
I'm kind of proud of
So
it.
the fact that your attendance 12 to 18% down versus the maybe 30% that's expected at other colleges, that's also encouraging. Are you still finding your nursing program to be full, and is there any way of it being able to expand that? I know it's limited by the amount of availability of of the practical portion of the program. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the limiting factor at this point. I don't know that there are opportunities to expand without adding on extra cost, of course. But certainly we're talking about that, Lindy. By and large, nursing continues to be strongly subscribed to. We have some openings on the Thai campus still that we're looking to fill. And I know that because the online presence, particularly in the RN program for the fall, there is an opportunity for students that may have been on a wait list on one of the other campuses to be able to because the online, it wouldn't matter where you are, to be able to plug into it for the fall in the Thai slots. So we'll see. Yeah.
Okay.
You have a contract with the San Regis Mohawk Tribe too, is that still in effect, or?
So that's been another really bright spot, Don. We've had a nice partnership with St. Regis Mohawk Tribe, and we're welcome to be able to offer courses up on the tribal territory in their brand new building. So it is currently not. I think that we're likely going to be moving those into an online setting, and there's been some discussion around the potential to push in some of those student support services in a more face-to-face way. That picked up some traction. We saw some healthy enrollments in the fall, and then even healthier ones in the spring. So we're hoping we're able to continue that. But at this point, we think it'll be online.
And the biggest problem, I don't think there's enough visibility out there to know that you're offering it there and it's open to everybody. I still don't hear that yet.
And to that end, so we've done a lot of targeted marketing this last year, which you may have seen some of. We looked at some of our programs where there were either some combination of under enrollment or workforce need. And one of the more recent one is the human services, where we know in the counties there is just, lots of opportunity for people to work in the human services, and we've got capacity in our programs, and so we've done a real targeted marketing around that to the community. Similarly, we are doing one around Akwesasne and around the programs at Akwesasne. So that should be coming fairly soon. I think I saw the most recent prints in the last week or so. So hopefully that will help with some of that.
Yeah, good.
We had a radio spot, at least one, maybe a couple on CKON back in the fall and the winter, which was helpful. But yeah, if there are ideas you have around getting that word out, we are certainly open to that.
Thank you.
Joe, did you see any change with enrollment due to COVID, with students staying local because of the fact that, most schools are not kids are not traveling?
I don't know that we're able to pick that up, Andrea. We are hoping that that's the case, but I can check with our enrollment. I don't know that we've seen the kind of movement there yet.
Okay. I was just wondering, because I know we made a change with one of our boys from Colorado. He lives in Michigan, but he's going to go to a Michigan closer school just because, there's no traveling.
Absolutely.
Joe, along the lines of what Andrew is bringing up, do you think it would be wise to maybe put in a last sign up and announce when classes are going to start, and maybe do a broadcast out there for local who are undecided yet?
Yes, Paul. So our final blast is going to be starting these next 5 weeks for all comers. And I will make sure that we're also doing that for the undecideds. And we know that there are some of the uncertainties that are coming just with COVID. For example, the K-12 schools haven't announced what they're going to do. And as you all know, we have a fair number of our students that are parents. So, are they going to be able to come to school and homeschool? I mean, many of them wound up doing that in the springtime. And so we think there's some, as Eric noted, some people that are on the fence around that as well. But yes, good point, Paul.
You got the box office stuff, you got Messina, you got.
Oh, yeah.
You got Brazil. There's a lot of areas that go to office update, and, because of the convenience and stuff.
It should be a benefit.
And I know one of the campaigns that's underway right now is reaching out to all of the recent graduates of our College Bridge program that had 15 credits or more completed, to be able to say to them, hey, you think about North Country if you haven't already. And not that we haven't already reached out to them, but further reaching out to them in particular, because many of them are going to be college bound.
So what we need to do.
We do have a resolution in there to schedule a public hearing.
Okay, so we're doing a resolution today to schedule a public hearing for your budget, and it'll probably be at our next meeting, 2 weeks, or we're in August, so August 13th, so.
Super.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, and like I said, we do appreciate all you do down there.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate the support. It's nice to see you all.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Take good care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Got a few more minutes before the public hearing starts.
Good, how are you, everybody? It's been so long.
You have Penny has some job, some
Backfills?
backfills.
Yes, please.
We have a request to fill for the 3 per diem correctional officers.
And this is what we've recommended from the public safety
With the memo
memo.
regarding the 1,000 hours.
Yep.
So that's fine. And I have everybody okay?
Yep.
I have 2 per diem, not E911 dispatcher training positions, because they moved to full-time spots. So if you guys do.
Also, yes, the backfill for you.
And Ricky came in and talked to us about that.
Support that.
Yes,
Sure,
we
that's-
support that.
Committee recommends that.
Maybe recommends it.
Then I have a payout for the secretary for vacation time to be paid out of 59.5 hours and comp time of 2 hours.
Okay.
Were you okay with that?
I have this transportation one, but I only got.
No, I haven't.
Yes, that's all I have.
Okay, Donna, do you have anything? We just have a few more minutes left.
No, as I indicated earlier to the Economic Development Committee, we want to look at some priorities across Franklin County that we would identify under the contract we have with the LDC. Some of the deliverables are coming to a closure, and I think we want to really take a look at that and how that looks for the county and what kinds of tasks you'd like to see, target some areas. So I think that's that's it for me.
I have some from the control, the pre-control room at 10 o'clock, we have it every other day, and, there was a lot of complaining about out-of-state plates, what we could do about that, and, because with people coming in from out of state, and that's from some of the hot states, not just anywhere, but there's 30-some hot states now, so it could be pretty much a big question, but one of the suggestions I gave, I don't know how far it was gonna go, was that we that maybe give them a sticker or something, so that state police aren't harassing these people, or constantly stopping the same people over and over again.
Are the state police stopping them?
I don't know, but they don't have time.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what somebody in the control room was asking for them to have,
They were asking for the state police to stop them because they're driving.
because they're getting a lot of questions from the businesses, and not in our county, another county.
I saw somebody's car with a Georgia plate on it, and he had put an 8.5 by 11 sign in his rear view side window saying, "I'm from New York State, and I have quarantined."
That's a good idea, because it is a chatter, right?
Right.
Yeah, and then the other thing was the estrogen testing, they were saying it's, and the state didn't say this, it was one of the other counties said that was in question, the testing is in question for symptomatic people, they didn't know if they'd give an accurate test on that. The state didn't say any of that, so these are just questions that came to the state, and then they bring them further and come back with an answer sometimes.
I should let you know that we did receive notification from, some of our food handler, contracts. So the ones that supply gloves and hair nets, a lot of it's specific to us. And they have said, due to increased costs, they cannot hold their price. And so.
We've heard that from restaurants calling us and
Yeah.
coming to get sanitizer from our office, that they're struggling because prices for hairnets and gloves have skyrocketed. They
Yeah.
can't get the sanitized wipes. They can't even find sanitizer, so they're coming to get it from our office.
Last week, we.
Or it's so high priced to get it.
Yeah, they can afford it.
Last week, we were placing an order, for the jail, for the food services at the jail, the staff there for gloves. And, our bid price, said they need to increase the price by 80%.
80?
80%. And so our food service company that supplies the food, had given us a really good price, so we made a decision to, get as many as we could for the, jail at that price through the food service, even if they had not been, the awardee, and we spoke to the company where we did award the bid, and they said that, you better grab those while you can, so,
Well, that's what's good about having a purchasing agency looking at it for the whole county rather than just one specific area.
right, but, well, we asked to get more for the county, and the company would not provide those.
But I thought the state was going to assist in not allowing businesses to.
I don't think it's gouging. I mean, I think that it's about the cost of
Supply
what
and
it's
demand.
costing them to make these products right
And it's
now.
probably not made here.
They can justify the rate, the extra cost.
But I do think that may be worth a discussion at the control room tomorrow, saying, these are some things that we're running across. And
Well, the businesses that are open right now are struggling because this is extra cost on
oh, for
them.
sure.
And they can't raise their rates for,
Well,
I
there's
mean,
so much
she'll say it's public, like Hustler's Restaurant came in, she's like, it's expensive.
Yeah.
They can only raise the
We're
price
buying
up so
more-
much and
and
people
we
won't
can,
come.
And then that's what she said, she goes, we can only raise our price so much to the consumer coming in the door, but then the state's putting all these mandates on us. We're following them to a T, but, it's the cost on our back end
Yeah, well,
to buy them.
You figure gloves, say however many gloves you get for $1.
Yep.
Well, it's $1.80 now.
Right.
That's a
It's a big
big
jump.
jump.
Super leather isn't that worked as an antibacterial?
Because they're buying the gloves, and then they're buying face masks for their employees, and they're buying hair nets, and, the sanitizer, and, I mean, that's all stuff they've had, but she said the cost is almost triple.
And your revenues are only coming in at 50%.
We'll bring that up,
Like
we'll bring that up,
50% capacity.
I'm
Right.
gonna email it, Jim, I think that's.
Yeah.
sometimes you don't do a very good
And
job.
Donna, it's 50% capacity for all these
Exactly,
facilities.
exactly.
You know, at 50%, you still got
That's a lot.
100% capacity expenses.
Well, and maybe we need to look at doing it as statewide. I know it's not gonna go any higher statewide, but we need to maybe do it as a statewide thing. Maybe the state can have some contracts we can jump onto.
Right.
So I know, for example, with hand sanitizer, that all of the national supply of raw material was used up in January. And people are having to order the raw materials from India. And India is being overwhelmed by COVID also.
Well, they're also shut down pretty tight, so their
Right.
workforce is very limited.
Aren't allowed to go to work.
They're not I mean, they are, talk about strict, is India.
Yeah, soon as we get done this, we'll go first. Probably should start the public, you still talking about stuff, but we'll
Yeah.
start the public hearing, and, I don't know if anybody's gonna come online on the public hearing, but,
Nobody was asked for.
yeah. So,
Pages on,
we'll start the public hearing.
okay. So I'll read the legal notice. Please take notice that the Franklin County Legislature will hold a public hearing on a local law entitled, "The Local Law of the County Legislature of the County of Franklin extending the 1% tax on sales and use of tangible personal property and of certain services, on occupancy of hotel rooms and on amusement charges pursuant to Article 29 of the tax law of the state of New York. The purpose of this local law is to allow the county legislature of the County of Franklin to extend a 1% tax on sales and use of tangible personal property and of certain services, on occupancy of hotel rooms and on amusement charges pursuant to Article 29 of the tax law of the state of New York. The public hearing on this local law is to be held on Thursday, July 23rd, 2020, at 10:30 a.m. in the chambers of the legislature, 4th floor courthouse, Malone, New York. Citizens are invited to attend and have the right to provide written and oral comments. If anyone cannot attend the public hearing, written comments can be submitted to the office of the clerk of the Franklin County Legislature prior to July 23rd, 2020. Pending the primo clerk, Franklin County Legislature dated July 6, 2020. And I have not received any comments.
Okay, has anybody got any comments on the 1% tax?
And this is something we do on an annual basis.
Yes, it brings us from 7 to 8.
I believe it's every 3 years.
Every 3 years.
Oh, it's every 3, I'm sorry, yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
In every county, at one time, almost every county was doing it but us. So it's something we gotta do to keep up. So while we're waiting for anybody for any company, we got it down till 1:15, so is there anything else we will need to discuss? Paul, you got anything in Tupper Lake that's going on that we need to know about?
No, everything's moving along. Talked with you this morning, Don, talked to our assemblyman and senator, and everything's moving along. Oh, I got a question. While we're talking about it, did you folks hear anything from the control room about the possibility of expediting these tests or dispersing them at different labs so that they can come back quicker than 5 to 7 days?
It was brought up at the last meeting, or the one we had yesterday, that 7 days was unacceptable and that we needed to have a faster way of testing, but that's just, and you know how they'll bring it back and see what they can do about it, but that's, and it's not only here, it's everywhere, we're having problems.
Right.
Because there's so many tests being done in the state now.
Okay, thank you.
Going back to procurement issues, Sandy and my office spent a lot of time this week. I don't mean to sound morbid, but it's our reality, finding a supply of body bags for the coroners. Those have been very difficult to
I
work
wonder
with.
if New York City would have extra because they ordered a
We
lot.
found some,
Oh, they did?
yeah, but you also have to make sure you've got the right quality as well.
Oh, yeah. And I think we
So
went-
there's just some items that are really difficult.
Well, you don't think about.
Right, but you don't think about on a regular.
Yeah, we don't like to think about body bags, but it's
Right.
it's reality.
goes in with gloves, right? I mean, it's all plastic. But I don't know what he said. I probably don't want to know what he said. The look on Ed's face, I don't want to know what Greg said.
They want to see your video.
Randy of the building, our current individual who's heading up the building services here, and I sat in on a webinar on a treatment filtering process that can treat rooms in 45 minutes and remove the particles, the virus particles, within 45 minutes down 100% by a technology that is retrofittable to building air handling systems, easier than HEPA filters. And so what I'll do is I'll send a summary information out to you. I think NISAC already sent an overview on it. And so I took some notes and I'll send it out to you with the PowerPoint file and the actual recorded webinar. The company is in New York State, has this technology, and it's been used all over the world for treating buildings relative to COVID to reduce it. This is something that I know about because in my previous work for Corning, I had a professional group that did this in my organization, engineers and PhD scientists for clean room technology. So this technology is pretty interesting from a standpoint of being able to take the issue of if you have clients coming in, how do you deal with that load of viral exposure to your employees? And it could improve the safety for our organizations like DMV or like Treasurers, where you have a certain exposure level. And I know that you've taken an approach of a contained area where you don't have to clean everything, you just clean that contained area. So they have both portable units and they have large commercial units that can be retrofitted into the building. And they'll come and do a free survey relative to identifying what could be done in different buildings. So I asked Donna if she could think about which departments would be most impacted by being able to have some air cleaning process on this. And then we could figure out, is certain rooms, do you do a portable unit? On certain rooms, do you do a contained area? On certain areas of the building, do you have a whole building type of unit? And
Is this a separate unit that you have? Is that what you're saying?
It hooks into your existing or could be separate.
it's all three. You can have a standalone unit that's like in your an air filter that would filter for an office area, say like Don's office or our meeting room over there. You could have a unit that goes into an air handling system. And then they also have small units. So they have units for 1,000 cubic feet per minute, 2,000 cubic feet per minute, 3,000 cubic feet per minute.
Like a fogger would do?
The fogger, what it does is sterilizes at a specific time. What this does is it draws the air across a filter that is charged with 15,000 kilovolts, and it agglomerates the particles zaps them like a zapper, and keeps them from floating around in the air. And the reason why it's better than a HEPA filter is HEPA filters do it mechanically. They're just really fine filters. And you have to have a lot of fan power to push the air through. So it's hard to retrofit buildings like this. This, instead of filtering it mechanically, is taking the physics of particles and causing them to agglomerate. And the agglomeration makes it easier to catch them. Small particles like to stick to one another. And if you give them a little bit of encouragement with some extra electricity, they love to stick together. And then the electricity zaps them and kills it off.
You're gonna send us the information you have. And
Yes,
I think somewhere you gotta compare and contrast that total cost.
Yeah.
Compared to the HEPA filter. Like if you got a system already in place where you can, you may have to replace more HEPA filters, but if you got a system in place that accepts HEPA filters and you're covering the whole building
right.
versus individual, like the one I think you're talking about, I don't think it's 1,000 cubic feet would do this room right here.
I understand. Those are portable units.
I'm not disagreeing with you, I'm just saying, we before we jump into that, we gotta have, be able to compare the cost and.
Yeah, that's why she's gonna send us all the information.
I'll send out the information. And what I'm suggesting is that we sign up to bring them in to do the free evaluation. Do we have any buildings that have HEPA filter capability?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
You know, but that's why I'm saying, that's something you gotta look into, if you're already equipped, and for HEPA filters, it's a matter of changing the filters, similar to changing filters on a furnace or a central air, you know what I mean? You gotta consider the labor and the cost
I
involved.
understand. It's the same, yep.
Okay, so with that, well, it's 10:45, so we'll close the public hearing. 10:46. Whatever you got to do there. And we'll do a call to order. We'll stand with pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Get back to my auditors.
Thank you, Fran.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fran.
Bye, Fran. Bye. Okay, I'll do roll call. Legislator Lozon.
Here.
Legislator Genesis.
Here.
Legislator Lockwood.
Here.
Legislator DeVille.
Here.
Legislator Maroon.
Here,
Legislator Ellis.
Here.
Okay, and I've prepared the minutes from the July 2nd, 2020 meeting.
I get a motion and a second to accept the minutes. Lindy, Ed, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carried.
For correspondence, I have a letter from the New York State Homeland Security and Emergency Services stating that Franklin County was awarded $11,280 under the fiscal year 2020 Emergency Management Performance Grant COVID-19 Supplemental Program.
Now with the public health. Pretty sure I did. Oh, so with the 911. Okay, do I get a motion and a second to accept the correspondence? Lindy? Paul? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion carried.
So the resolutions, I'm going to start with resolution number 75. This was referred back to the committee on our March 19th meeting. It's offered by Public Safety Committee relating to authorization to create